All right, so a recent report just came out that shows that for the first time in years, the National Association of Realtors are reporting that its members, the number of people that are members, are starting to decrease. And we already know that. We already know that there are a lot of real estate agents leaving the business. We know that we're coming off of a year where there are more real estate agents in this country, in the United States, than we've ever seen in the history of the country. Last year, I think NAR ended up with about 1.6 million licensees. And that made sense because we also came off of a record year of home sales where we sold about 6.1, 6.2 million homes. Now, here's the thing. We know that the housing market is under a lot of pressure. And the crash that I'm talking about is not home prices. I've made a lot of videos about the housing market in terms of whether or not it's going to crash. And the crash, when we talk about the housing market, we're referring specifically to home prices. In the context of this conversation, however, the crash that I'm talking about right now has to do with the number of transactions. That is plummeting. Home sales are down 25%, but we still have 1.58 million real estate agents. And so I made another video about that earlier this week, where the opportunity that we have with as many real estate agents as we have causes a massive issue for those that are in the real estate industry. Thus, the reason why a lot of people are getting out. The opportunity is lower, and it will continue to go lower. In fact, the recent number is this. So we're going to come off of a market with about 6.1, 6.2 million home sales, right? Well, it's being projected this year that we end up somewhere around 4.2 to 4.3 million home sales for the year. That will result in NAR's come out and said, listen, we're probably going to lose 15, 20% of the real estate agents right now. That's not what this episode or this conversation is about. This conversation is about the opportunity for those real estate agents that can weather the storm. Because I want to share a story. When I got into the industry in late 2004, I started off in the mortgage business, and then I started selling real estate. And I sold real estate in what hindsight tells us the most difficult real estate market we've ever seen. The Great Recession of 2008, 2009. At the time, here's the crazy thing. Like now, media outlets were having a field day with the market. Doom and gloom, this, that, and the other thing. Well, here's the reality. We still had, and I'll pull up something to show you guys because this gives us great context. If we look back to that, right? We look back to 2008, 2009, we were hovering around 4.2 million homes sold. And the thing is with that means that there were 9 million commission checks that were handed out in the worst economic housing market we've ever seen, that this country has ever seen. Fine. Looking ahead, here's the interesting thing for those that can weather the storm. While mortgage interest rates are going crazy, they went over 7% again. Home sales have fallen off a cliff. Nobody wants to do anything. Mortgage applications are down. Home prices are staying pretty much fixed just because of the lack of inventory. But when I was selling real estate in 2008, 2009, we had no context. I didn't understand the severity of the market. We were just doing our thing. And what happened is going to be what I believe something similar to what will happen here in the near future for those real estate agents that stay in the market. If a real estate agent right now weathers this storm and they learn how to navigate this market, they learn how to succeed in a very difficult market that we're in right now in terms of total opportunity, right? We're going to come off of 6 million. We're going to go all the way down to 4.2 million home sales. That's a big, big hit to the opportunity that we have to earn a living. If an agent can succeed in that market, then my question is the same way that I experience myself. What would happen to that agent when the market turns around? So I start asking myself all these questions. And I say, well, let's maybe look ahead. Let's look to see where's this housing market going? Because it's super easy to get lost in the doom and gloom. It's super easy to find ourselves saying this market is super difficult and not being able to think long term, because maybe the current pain you might be in right now because your business is down 20, 30, 40, 50% from where it was just a year ago. Well, let's look at that. There's an interesting report that kind of looks at the housing market over the next 5 years. So this is a 5-year housing market forecast. And there's a lot of these out there. I just picked one. And I said, okay, we know that in 2021, we sold, like I said, 6.1, 6.2 million home sales. Then in 2022, that went down to 5.1, 5.2. This year, the prediction is that we end up around 4.2. This thing's just falling off of a cliff. We know that. We know how difficult that is. But then when we look ahead over the next 3 or 4 years, we find ourselves with the opportunity going right back up to 6 million home sales per year. Now, here's the interesting thing. And hindsight's always 2020. I didn't know this at the time, but when we look back historically at the number of real estate agents during the Great Recession, you saw we got down to under 1 million real estate agents in this country in 2012. You can see that over the next 2 years, it took 2.5 years for 150,000 agents to rejoin the marketplace. However, check this out. During that same period of time, the opportunity grew by over 1 million home sales during the exact same period of time. So, Brandon, what is the point? Get to it. My point is this. If you can weather the storm and you can succeed in this market, what will happen is twofold. One, we will see a mass exodus of real estate agents that just can't make it. They're going to get out of the business. To what point where we see that fall, we don't know. NAR's saying 15, 20% drop off. But what will happen is once mortgage interest rates come back down and once real estate transactions pick up the way that many economists believe will happen in early 2024, then it will be like drinking from a fire hose. Because if you can build a pipeline right now of people that want to move, that are sitting on the sideline, which they are, talked about that in almost every single episode over the last 2 weeks, this market, which I'm calling the gridlock, no one's doing anything, that pipeline explodes early 2024, late 2024, early 2025. And you can literally explode your business while the competition from other agents is still low. Because it takes a little while for people to catch on. Oh, wow, we're in a hot real estate market. Let me get my license. Let me join this real estate market. Let me get into the business. And we see that exact same thing happening. As the housing market, let me share my screen. As the housing market starts to recover out of 2008, we see home sales, the trajectory of home sales increase year over year over year. Yeah, there's some dips here and there, but the trajectory is on this upward trajectory. Well, the same thing, there's a lagging indicator for the number of agents that join the business, right? And so you can see this year over year over year over year, that there will be some success in the real estate market, and then people will join. You have the opportunity to be part of that growth before people re-enter the marketplace. And this just hit me today. When that report came out and said, all real estate agents are leaving the business left and right, I said, hold on for a second, pump the brakes. Don't quit yet, because once you can get through this downturn and maybe we pick up with 1.2, 1.1 million real estate agents, a lot less people in the business to compete with, but transactions are way, way up. Based on what I just showed you, we come out of a market at 4.2, and then maybe next year we go to 5.2. We had 1 million transactions to the opportunity, right? That's 2 million commission checks with a lot less agents to compete with. Maybe you find yourself in a completely different situation that you're finding yourself in right now. Then we look into 2025. Maybe we go to 5.8, 5.9 million home sales. Remember, it's a lagging indicator. The real estate market has to get good for people to recognize that, for them to be reactive. It's like a herd mentality. Oh, real estate's an easy way to make money again. Then we see people get their license. I'm trying to find a graph that really shows this really well. That, oh, it's right here. This is really, really good. Let me show you this. This is such a good point. So let me see. Oh, it's right here. This is really good. So this is a graph from that was on an Inman article, but it's from Reventure. And it shows realtor growth versus home price growth, basically the real estate market, right? And the just the kind of the growth in this country. And you can see, I'll stop scrolling up and down. You can see as the housing market increases, the number of agents follows. It's not proactive because nobody can time the market. But then as home prices go down, look at it, the blue line follows suit. So home prices go up first. In other words, the housing market gets better first. And then as a result of that, people start to get licensed. So those agents that can hang out, that can weather the storm, that can put their head down, find themselves in massive action, do the work, build a pipeline. Yeah, your business is going to be down 20, 25, 30% this year. But if you can get through it, because all of the agents that are leaving the business right now and transactions pick up another 10, 15% next year, and then another 10% after that, those people won't get back in the business instantly. That gap, my friend, is a massive opportunity for you. And the same thing happened to me. In 2014, it was my, I guess you'd call a breakout year, where I sold 106 homes as a solo agent by myself, no team. And it took me all of the years of building up this pent-up demand in my pipeline for it finally to explode when interest rates came down and home prices came back up after we came out of the Great Recession. Although I was still holding my own during those years, I had an exponential growth in my business. You can have that same growth. It's not going to be in 2023. This is not going to be a record year for you like 2021 was, or 2022. What goes up must go down. It's cyclical. I think about the time that we're in right now as a pipeline building opportunity. And then I look at years 24, 25, 26 as years of massive growth once again. And if you can get through the storm, you can find yourself on the upside of that. And of course, if you want help with that and you want to discuss a coaching relationship, I'm going to put a link. I'll put it right underneath this video, both in the description and I'll pin it in the comments. Feel free to schedule some time to learn more about our Listing Agent Academy coaching program and determine, or make a decision rather, whether or not you want to participate in that. So hopefully today's idea maybe brings a new way of looking at what's happening right now, because maybe it's not fun right now, right? It's a bloodbath. It's very difficult. But if you can just think about things long term and look at this as an opportunity to build a massive pipeline of sellers who will one day put that thing on the market, you can find yourself doing more business than you've ever done before, as long as you can weather the storm.